The air in the grove was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves. Ananda approached the Buddha, his face heavy with an expression of sorrow and longing that seemed to transcend words. He bowed deeply before the Buddha, his trembling voice revealing the depths of his unease and inner confusion. "Teacher, I feel as though I have lost something important, yet I cannot grasp what it truly is." The Buddha's serene gaze met Ananda's troubled eyes, his presence an anchor in the storm of uncertainty. He gestured to the ground, inviting Ananda to sit among the quiet embrace of nature surrounding them in harmony. "Ananda, this feeling you carry is not the loss of a physical possession, but the absence of inner clarity." The words pierced through Ananda's heart like sunlight breaking through clouds, illuminating the vague ache within his soul. He sighed deeply, as if trying to breathe out the weight of thoughts that had lingered for far too long. "I wander and search for answers, but each path leads me back to this unshakable emptiness," Ananda confessed solemnly. The Buddha's voice was calm, resonating like the soft ripples of water within a still pond's gentle presence. To feel lost is to hold on to an attachment to impermanence, seeking what cannot endure in a transient world. Ananda's eyes widened slightly, his brow furrowed as he tried to grasp the meaning behind the Buddha's words. What does it mean to lose what is impermanent? How can I distinguish what truly holds significance? Ananda asked. The Buddha reached down, picking up a fallen flower and holding it delicately between his fingers for Ananda to see. "This flower, though beautiful in its form, will wither and fade. It holds no permanence, yet still serves a purpose." Ananda looked at the flower, its vibrant petals slowly showing signs of wear under the passing influence of time. "I see the impermanence in the flower, but I struggle to find purpose within the fleeting moments of existence," he said. The Buddha placed the flower gently back upon the earth, its natural cycle uninterrupted, returning to its rightful place. "The purpose is not found in permanence but in being present to the unfolding truth within each passing moment," he explained. Ananda lowered his gaze, his mind reflecting deeply upon the fleeting beauty and silent wisdom carried in the flower's life. "Does this mean that I should no longer seek? Should I abandon my yearning for what feels essential to me?" The Buddha's soft smile formed, his radiance a mirror of the compassion he carried within his heart for all beings. "To seek is natural, but to seek without understanding is to chase the wind and grasp for nothingness," he replied. Ananda nodded slightly, though his heart still felt the weight of uncertainty gripping him tightly like an unyielding shadow. "I fear that even understanding may slip from me, leaving me in darkness without a way to guide my steps," he admitted. The Buddha gestured toward the rising sun that cast golden hues upon the grove, a metaphor rising within his actions. "Even in the night, the stars provide light. When the sun sets, its warmth leaves behind the promise of dawn." Ananda followed the direction of the Buddha's gaze, watching the interplay of light and shadow upon the natural world's canvas. "What is the role of light in this journey? Does clarity arise only through illumination of all that remains unseen?" he asked. The Buddha's voice held the weight of truth and the softness of compassion as he answered Ananda's searching question. "Light reveals the truth, but it does not create it. Clarity exists in your willingness to see beyond illusions," he said. Ananda paused, his heart touched by the profound yet simple wisdom that lay like gems within the Buddha's gentle guidance. What illusions cloud our vision? Is it our desires that keep us chasing what cannot fill the void we feel? The Buddha closed his eyes briefly, then opened them again as if to welcome the understanding blooming in Ananda's thoughts. Our desires are like smoke veiling the light within us. The more we seek outward, the less we see inward. Ananda clasped his hands together tightly, his breathing slightly labored as he wrestled with the enormity of such realization. "If I look inward, Will I find what I have lost? Is the answer hidden within my own self? He asked. The Buddha extended his hand, allowing his presence to reassure Ananda in the depths of his growing contemplation and introspection. To look inward is to uncover what was never truly missing. It is to awaken to the truth already within you. Ananda felt his chest tighten, not from fear but from the emotions stirred by the weight of the Buddha's compassion. The truth within me, is it eternal, or is it just as fleeting as the beauty of the flower? He questioned. The Buddha's gaze softened further, as though his understanding was too vast yet still willing to connect with Ananda's heart. Truth is neither fleeting nor eternal. It is simply what it is, beyond all concepts and limitations of time, he explained. Ananda's shoulders relaxed, as if the burden of his unnameable loss had shifted slightly, leaving space for curiosity to grow. How can I begin to embrace this truth? I wish to no longer feel lost but to truly awaken, Ananda said. The Buddha's hand rested gently on the earth beside him, his actions a reflection of harmony with the nature around him. To awaken is not to escape loss, but to transform it into understanding and compassion through mindful awareness of impermanence. Ananda nodded slowly, his heart beginning to feel a fragile yet resilient sense of connection with the teachings before him. I will follow your guidance and seek within myself the light of truth hidden beneath the veil of impermanence, he declared. The Buddha smiled warmly, a gesture that carried both encouragement and the assurance of a path filled with shared humanity. In the silence of the grove, nature and wisdom intertwined, carrying both Ananda and the Buddha into the depth of truth. The rustle of leaves grew softer as the wind calmed, as if nature, too, had paused to witness a moment's clarity. Another day, another walk through the verdant fields under the embrace of the sun's warming light. Alongside the serene Buddha, Ananda felt the lingering question from their previous conversation pressing upon him as they ventured into the lives of others. They came upon a merchant, whose hands clasped tightly around gold coins, fear clouding his gaze like a storm on the horizon. The merchant greeted them, though his eyes betrayed a restless mind burdened by the weight of protecting his wealth from loss. Master Buddha, this gold is all I have. I fear losing it, though I gain no peace from keeping it. The Buddha replied gently, his voice a soothing balm for the merchant's frayed nerves burdened by endless cycles of desire. To cling tightly is to resist the natural flow. To seek permanence in possessions is to drink from an empty cup. Ananda watched as the merchant struggled to understand, his trembling hands loosening slightly, though his longing lingered still within him. The Buddha gestured to the rising wind that carried fallen leaves gently into the distance beyond their reach and grasp. The wind does not cling. It moves freely, embracing impermanence without fear or resistance, allowing renewal to unfold naturally. The merchant nodded slowly, though his heart still seemed to wrestle with the layers of realization offered by the Buddha's words. Ananda walked onward with the Buddha, observing the subtle teachings that unfolded in each encounter along their path forward. They soon encountered a farmer whose shoulders hunched under the heavy burden of grief and loss from damaged crops in the field. My crops were destroyed by a storm, the farmer lamented, his voice heavy with sorrow. My livelihood is broken, and I fear. The Buddha approached him with calm and compassion, his presence carrying an unspoken assurance that comfort could indeed be found. To face loss is not to succumb to despair. Loss is the fertile ground in which resilience and renewal can grow. The farmer looked away, unable to meet the Buddha's eyes, the weight of his sorrow seeming to anchor him in place. Ananda observed quietly, his own heart stirred as he began to reflect on impermanence through the lives of those they encountered. The Buddha knelt beside the farmer, his movements deliberate and grounded in an enduring understanding of human suffering and strength. Look not only at what was lost but also at the soil that remains. In that soil, life still finds a way. The farmer's gaze shifted to the earth beneath him, his sorrow temporarily lightened by the wisdom and compassion extended toward him. Ananda followed. As the journey continued, the teachings unfolding in layers he could barely comprehend. Though his mind clung closely, they came across a mother holding tightly to her child, tears streaking her face as grief eclipsed the joy of companionship. He reminds me of my lost husband, the mother wept. I cannot separate the joy of his life from my sorrow. The Buddha approached her with kindness, radiating from his presence, an invitation to speak deeper truths hidden beneath unspoken burdens and loss. To hold tightly to sorrow is to cloud the light of the present. To let go is to find connection anew. The mother hesitated, her heart's grip on sorrow refusing to loosen. Though her eyes seemed to shift toward the Buddha's gentle demeanor, the past is gone. Yet its lessons remain. Let love illuminate the present instead of casting shadows over joy within. The mother nodded faintly, her tears continuing to flow, yet carrying an unspoken acknowledgement of the Buddha's compassionate and encouraging words. Ananda's heart weighed heavy from witnessing their suffering, his desire to understand impermanence growing within him yet remaining elusive to reach. As dusk fell upon the land, the Buddha and Ananda rested beneath the stars, their silence embracing the vastness above and beyond. Ananda broke the silence, his voice heavy with emotion stirred by the encounters they had witnessed through the days. Unfolding journey. Why is impermanence such a burden for people? Why does everyone feel as though something is missing, incomplete within their lives? The Buddha gazed upward, his focus drawn to the stars, their distant light a metaphor for truths awaiting those who seek them. To long for permanence in impermanence is to chase an illusion. To embrace impermanence is to awaken to the true nature. Ananda pondered deeply, his mind awash with reflections of the merchant, the farmer, and the mother, each carrying their own stories. How can they, and I, embrace impermanence without falling into despair? The weight of loss seems unbearable for so many who suffer deeply. The Buddha's voice resonated like the soft rhythm of waves upon the shore, each word carrying the depth of profound wisdom. Despair arises from resistance to what unfolds naturally. To open oneself to impermanence is to free the heart from unnecessary suffering and pain. Ananda clasped his hands tightly, seeking the courage to ask what lay heavy within his heart, the question he feared to ask. Can impermanence truly bring peace? Is it not human to long for permanence in love, joy, and all that makes life meaningful? The Buddha turned to face Ananda directly, his calm presence grounding the turbulent emotions of his deeply questioning disciple's inner turmoil. Love and joy do not disappear in impermanence. They flow like rivers, ever changing, carrying the essence of life's beauty through time. Ananda nodded faintly, his thoughts a fragile bridge between the lingering ache of loss and the emerging clarity of impermanence's truth. As the night stretched onward, silence and the sounds of nature cradled their conversation, enveloping them in the wisdom of the moment. Ananda understood that impermanence was not an enemy, nor was it to be feared. It was simply a path toward deeper awakening. The Buddha's teachings illuminated not only suffering but also resilience, a duality intertwined and inseparable within the cycles of existence itself. Ananda's steps grew lighter as he walked, though his heart remained heavy with questions waiting to unfold into understanding over time. Through impermanence's lessons, both seen and unseen, the promise of awakening continued to linger, a guide, ever present, along Ananda's path forward. Another day, another moment spent in the quiet stillness of nature, where Ananda walked beside the Buddha in silent thought. The sun rose softly, painting the grove in hues of gold and green, As the air carried sense of renewal everywhere, Ananda felt a stirring in his heart, a yearning for clarity that had grown steadily through days of contemplation and teachings. They approached a still pond, its surface reflecting the sky above, and sat together under the shade of ancient trees nearby. "Teacher, the ache in my heart remains, though your words have begun to lighten its weight," Ananda confessed in earnest. The Buddha turned to him, his gaze steady and compassionate, a presence unshaken by the ever-changing world surrounding them. "Ananda, the ache you feel is not a burden. It is an invitation to awaken to the truth of your existence." Ananda nodded faintly, though his uncertainty lingered, his mind questioning the journey he had undertaken to find meaning within impermanence. "Truth feels distant, like stars in the sky, visible, but beyond reach. How do I grasp what seems so far?" The Buddha's voice resonated with calm purpose, each word carrying the depth of wisdom forged through years of reflection and compassion. "Ananda, truth is not distant. It is as near as your breath, as present as the heartbeat you carry within." Ananda closed his eyes briefly, listening to the rhythm of his breath, seeking to understand the profound simplicity within Buddha's words. "Even though truth is near, I cannot see it clearly. What clouds my vision and keeps me from understanding its essence?" The Buddha reached into the pond, his hand gently disturbing the water's surface, ripples spreading outward in quiet yet visible waves. As ripples disturb the pond, desires and illusions distort your understanding. When the water calms, clarity reveals its hidden reflection. Ananda stared into the pond, watching the ripples fade, his heart grasping the metaphor woven into the interaction of water's surface. "What is the reflection of truth I must see within myself? Does it emerge naturally, or must I work to find it?" The Buddha's serene gaze remained fixed upon the pond, its stillness a mirror for the teachings he carried within his awakened heart. The reflection arises when you no longer grasp for it. Truth is revealed in stillness, within acceptance and mindfulness of impermanence. Ananda sighed deeply, his mind grappling with the layers of understanding wrapped in each sentence, his heart yearning for resolution and peace. What is mindfulness of impermanence? How does it differ from dwelling on loss and change, which fills the heart with sorrow? The Buddha gestured to a nearby tree, its blossoms falling gently to the ground in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Mindfulness of impermanence is not sorrow. It is understanding. It is the awareness that beauty lies within the fleeting moments of life. Ananda picked up one fallen blossom, its fragile petals soft against his fingertips, and his gaze lingered on its quiet existence, even in its fragility. "This blossom carries meaning, but I struggle to embrace impermanence without fearing loss of what feels dear." The Buddha's voice softened, his words carrying the weight of compassion for the universal human struggle against the fear of impermanence. Fear arises from resistance. To embrace impermanence is to realize that nothing is lost. It only transforms, remaining connected in new ways. Ananda looked back at the pond, its still surface reflecting the sky's vastness, his thoughts stirring with budding clarity and purpose. What remains connected through transformation? Does love and meaning persist in impermanence, or do they disappear with the passing of time? The Buddha's calm smile revealed his certainty, a reflection of his profound understanding forged in the depths of his enlightenment. Love and meaning flow through impermanence, not away from it. They are never lost, only carried forward like rivers toward the sea. Ananda's heart felt lighter as the teachings began to resonate, though questions still lingered within him, waiting to unfold into answers. If love flows forward, does it not fade with time? How can something remain meaningful if its form changes so completely? The Buddha reached out to the tree's blossoms, his hand gently brushing their petals. his actions a quiet extension of teaching. Love does not fade. Though its form transforms, it becomes part of all things, woven into the fabric of existence itself. Ananda lowered his gaze, reflecting deeply upon the intricate lessons he had received, feeling the ache in his heart shifting toward peace. Does this mean what truly matters is not what I possess, but the connection I hold to all life around me? The Buddha nodded, his actions speaking in silence, as the gentle rustle of leaves carried nature's wisdom alongside his own teachings. Connection is not possession, it is the act of being present, mindful, and awake to the truths unfolding in each moment. Ananda felt tears form in his eyes, though they carried no sorrow, only the quiet embrace of clarity awakened through understanding. My heart feels lighter, though I know I still have much to learn. How can I continue this journey toward awakening? The Buddha placed his hand gently on the earth, a gesture that connected him to all things and carried unspoken meaning. Awakening is not a destination, it is a practice, a willingness to see, to accept, and to walk with impermanence without resistance. Ananda bowed deeply before the Buddha, gratitude flooding his heart, though it carried humility for the depth of truths yet untold. As the day grew into evening, the grove's stillness reflected the harmony found between nature, wisdom, and the unfolding journey of life. Ananda's steps carried him forward, his mind lighter, and his heart attuned to the truths of impermanence revealed in quiet beauty. The teachings continued to resonate, not as answers but as guideposts, marking the path toward awakening carried within the present moment. Through the Buddha's voice and nature's reflection, Ananda began to find what truly mattered. Not a thing, but an enduring presence. The ache dissolved into clarity, the veil lifted through mindfulness, as truth awaited not discovery but awakening within Ananda's heart. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.